we all look at the world through these cultural goggles, right? Starting with these goggles are really imparted to us from our families, starting with what language do you speak, right?
Yes.
I mean, we all have brains that could be accepting any language, right? But we were brought up, we have, most of us, have one native language, and that's our
That's right.
dominant language, especially for Americans, that stays with us through our lives. And then even when we get locked in, from a neurology standpoint, it's very fascinating how when we get locked in English, it also uses certain parts of the brain and causes us, therefore, to approach problem solving in certain more analytical ways
Right.
than in some others. So there's some refining that happens. It allows us to become very expert in certain ways, but it can become very easy to start to feel like my cultural goggles are the way everybody looks at the world, and to make all those assumptions. And so to me, the skill of cultural fluency, which is the main thing that we imbue our learners with, is to understand what is universal, to understand what is cultural, and to see these, to recognize and to be able to very fluidly shift out our cultural goggles to shift and adapt as needed so that we can also adapt our behaviors and more effectively engage. Now, I think that this is it's something that I think we're all on a journey on. I think for me, growing up in a very white society, I sort of developed the ability to adapt as a survival instinct,
Yeah.
And so I became like a chameleon.
Yes.
I could fit into any crowd. And that's really an important part of my being successful when I was deputy mayor and then a CEO headhunter. Like whoever I could be the ultimate people pleaser.
Yes.
Whoever you want me to be, I will be that person. But I think that for me, when I hit around 40, I looked very successful on the outside, but inside I was really kind of lost. I was always kind of denying my own self. I didn't really know what I stood for. And my Chineseness was always something that was a sort of shame for me growing up.
Yes.
And so it was such a gift to be invited to China and to spend 9 years working full-time in China. And I got really deeply rooted in my own Chinese language and culture. And I think that experience of being completely immersed in a different culture and being able to look back at American society with a different set of eyes, that experience is what made me develop the cultural fluency that I have today, becoming really bicultural. And now I'm back in the US, and now I can look at the world in a whole set of eyes. So I think being deeply immersed in one or more than one culture, that gives you such an advantage in doing this. And so what I'm working on is sort of helping people, accelerate people through that. So you don't have to get up and move to a different culture, but you can very quickly and fluidly be able to shift your goggles and to be able to adapt your behaviors as needed, right? So it's not like I have to do it in order to be accepted. I understand what my goals are. I understand deeply what the other person's goals are, and I can do it strategically so that we can effectively co-create mutual success.